All right. Here we are back at Sakura Con again. Mark 5 here with Ian K.
What's up?
Yeah. Thanks for taking some time out today to answer some of these questions for our viewers here on EDN.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So first up, we're going to start a little easy.
All right.
A little easy. So what is your favorite track of all time?
Oh, man.
Any genre.
Any genre?
You're not
all time?
You're not locked into electronic either. So.
I mean, I'm so locked into the mindset of dance music this weekend because this will reflect my answer today. But my answer would probably change, like if you asked me like tomorrow.
Oh yeah, but this is for this weekend.
This weekend,
yeah,
it's got to be like 3 a.m. Eternal KLF off the White Room album.
Yeah,
like that was. I'd heard dance music before then, but I heard that. And I think it came out in like '92, and when I heard that, it just like blew my mind.
Yeah.
That I used to listen to that whole album straight through, just nonstop. But that one track, 3 a.m. Eternal, is like I feel like the quintessential like rave track.
Cool. Yeah.
Favorite. Always gets me
All right.
going.
Awesome. So next up, what's your favorite mix of all time?
Oh, that's a tough one. Favorite mix of all time. I can only narrow it down to a CD set.
Okay.
And it would be Bonkers 3.
Bonkers 3, okay.
The Bonkers 3 CD. And part of it is like the time and the place.
Yeah.
But I got that mix CD, and me and Dummy were on a road trip from Seattle to Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
And we just rinsed out like all three of those CDs. And by the end of it, every single mix, it's like you're anticipating every single mix and you knew it. I knew those 3 CDs like inside and out, like, and such diversity.
Yeah.
At that time was like, wow, this is really highlighting the diversity of hardcore. And you go, and I think it stands out. Like if you go back and listen to Bonkers 3,
right?
Like that one to me feels like it really stands out.
Yeah. That's close enough. Bonkers 3 is close enough, even though it's 3 CDs.
3 CDs, one mix.
But
I guess.
It's one compilation. It's one compilation.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Okay. So another easy one here.
Okay.
Actually, I know the answer to this, but for everyone else, did you start first with spinning or production?
I actually got started with emceeing. So I was a hardcore MC first with Dummy.
Yeah.
And then I got more into the production thing. From that came much more of the DJ thing. Like even before I had MC'd with Dummy, like we had done like a DJ set together.
Yeah.
Like the summer before. But it was once I became his MC is when we really both things started to kind of take off for us.
Yeah.
So I'd say like the MCing is where it really started for me. Then it got into production.
Yeah.
And then from there it really led into the DJing. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So next question, how long have you been spinning? Like when did you first start attempting to spin?
Gotta say it was like 98. So it was like, I think it was like either the fall of 98. The first, I remember the time I had played with Dummy was like summer of 99.
Yeah.
My first time emceeing was New Year's 1999.
Yeah.
New Year's Eve. So yeah, 98, 99 is where I got my start. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So next up, this is a pretty simple question. It's actually a little deeper for everyone else, but what's the story behind your DJ/producer name?
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Ian K is legit. It's my real name. And what's funny is when I was an MC, I went as MC Verbal.
Right.
And it was kind of 2 things. One was like Verbal Kint from The Usual Suspects as a character. It was like pretty awesome. And then you'll tell in this interview, I'll never shut up. Like I can just talk forever.
Right, yeah.
And that helps on a mic
when
you're an MC. So MC Verbal worked out really well. But yeah, when it came to choosing like a producer and DJ name, I had all of these things, and you kind of realize it's like everything that you've seen other people do can be broken down to like a couple of different, like
Right.
they pulled from something from pop culture, they pulled from something from their childhood,
Yeah.
or it's like something really personal to them.
Right.
I was just really grasping at straws. At a certain point, I was just like, why not?
Right. Exactly.
And what was so funny is like right after I decided to do it, I was like, okay, this is kind of how I am. And it's not like, you make a press release or anything. It's just kind of a decision you make.
Right.
And then like 6 months after that, I learned about E&M, who is a hard house producer on Tidy. And I was like, oh, that's pretty dang close.
Yeah.
But I was like, fuck it. Like, it's my name. I can stand behind that.
Right. That's all you need. That's all you need.
Yeah, I figure it like it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Pretty easy for me to remember. So yeah,
For everyone to remember.
yeah.
Okay. So next up, what is one tip you would give to people just getting started out with production?
Well, with production in particular,
Yes.
I mean, I think what I would probably say is, oh man, that's a deep one. The tip, well, I guess what I'd say is just start. I know I've heard from a lot of people that are kind of like, I've got this idea, but I kind of want to do this thing. And they're really kind of stuck on creating this idea in its entirety before they get started. And if there's anything I've learned from just music in general, is that creativity is a really organic process, and it often just requires iteration. Right. So it's not about that you created in your mind the perfect thing and then made it happen. Sometimes it's like, I kind of have a sort of an idea and I don't even know if it's good, but the act of me getting it out,
Right.
I mean, that is how you hone your engineering skills.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like you're planting a seed and kind of like nurturing it.
Right. And I think that's a really good analogy, because it's like, you can have an idea of what that seed's going to turn into.
Right.
And there's some crafting, but at a certain point, it just becomes what it's going to be.
Right.
And sometimes it's going to be something great. And sometimes it's like, I mean, I've got a folder of like hundreds of ideas that are like, okay, that are just like dead ends to me. Like creative dead ends. But if I didn't just get it out and try the idea, I might be kind of stuck in that phase of like, well, I want to make this work. I have this idea. I have this vision.
Yeah.
So I'd say like, don't get too caught up early on about your vision of what you want to do.
Right.
Like, just have fun, get excited about like, I made this sound and it's weird. And then just just accept the fact that early on, it's not going to sound great.
Yeah.
It'll sound great to you, but because you're making it, and that's fantastic. But just give it time. Like, it comes with time. But early on, don't worry so much about perfection.
Yeah.
I think early on, it's like you're in a garage band. Jam it out.
Yeah.
Get ideas out. Move on to the next idea.
Yeah. And also just to comment on, like your backlog of like 100 ideas that may be dead ends. Maybe they're dead ends today, but maybe 6 months down the road, you have like an epiphany with one of them and it's no longer a dead end.
Or like you had this idea at a time that concept or whatever you were thinking just wasn't like a sound that worked for.
Yeah.
And maybe 5 years from now, there's a sound, all that comes out and you're just like, oh my God, I got this folder of melodies.
Yeah.
And it's that thing. And for me, it was this weird evolutionary backwater.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's relevant again.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, that's why I never delete anything. I always keep them. And I've got like just folders of these like 16 or 32 bar noodles.
Right.
But it's no different from when I was like a kid with a guitar and I'd have a cassette tape that had a bunch of like 4-chord riffs. I've probably gone through every permutation of 4 chords that you can put together to try to make punk music as a kid. Yeah. So I think you got to do the same thing, even if it's with a computer.
Yeah.
Just like jam it out.
And just to sprout off in a little tangent here, the viewers may not realize that you were in a band before doing all this electronic stuff.
Yeah. I was in a punk band with Dummy.
Yeah.
And then that was like when we were in high school. And then right after that, I was in a ska band for a couple of years. And then later on, I was in a band with Dummy's brother. It was more of like a emo kind of rock music band.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always kind of had that be a part. There was a weird phase of my life where I was gigging as a DJ or as an MC and trying to manage like working a 9 to 5 and being married and like trying to do these band gigs and practicing twice a week. It's like at a certain point you're like, okay, I gotta like choose something. And at that point, like that's where dance music kind of panned out. Yeah, still love all that stuff.
All right, cool. So to move on with the rest of my questions, let's see what we have next here. Let's make sure I'm not skipping anything. So which gig has been your most memorable experience?
We're at it. Like
we're at it.
Hands down, we're at it.
Hands down, Sakura Con.
Yeah, I got involved with Sakura Con. I think this is like my 9th year.
Yeah.
So when I first was asked to be a part of it as a performer, it was like it wasn't what it is today, but it was amazing. Like it was this big thing, and what struck me is it was like, especially that first time, I was like, these are people I'm never going to see at like a rave.
Right, exactly.
These aren't people that are going to come out to a warehouse at 3 in the morning.
I mean, there's some overlap.
Yeah.
I mean, for like the East Coast conventions, I would say the overlap is like, well, today it's a little higher. Today it's probably like 25% maybe. But like back when, I first started doing them, it was like maybe like 2%.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of like cross-pollination.
Yeah.
But, and then like it moved from one of the smaller rooms upstairs to the main hall that it's in now. And I think it was like the first year that it was in the main hall that I got to play. And I did like a live PA. It was like kind of all my own stuff. Had a live vocalist for part of it. And I mean, it's a crowd that's like up for it. I mean, again, these are people who might not come to like a big rave or a festival or something, but they're here and they want to have fun, and this is their opportunity to get into this.
Yeah, totally.
And there's something to me really exciting about like seeing somebody have that moment. Like that might be that moment for them where they're getting turned on to a sound that like blows their mind, like
that they're not normally exposed to.
Right. Or they might never come in contact with, or might come in contact with in like a way that maybe isn't palatable to them. But this is like, it's all kind of put on and presented by people that are like part of this culture and community. So I think that it gives it a level of like, I don't know, just intuitively they feel engaged with it.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how like cool it is to look out and see like, at a con you'll see like younger kids.
Right.
And they're like getting down to like some old school UK hardcore.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is like 4 generations before you.
Right.
Like not just 1 or 2. This is like many generations.
Yeah.
And there's something like beautiful about like, they don't know that this is old music.
Right.
They don't know if this is new music. They don't know if they're supposed to like it or not. They're just there getting down. And like, that's, to me, that's rave music. That's raving at its core. So like, and I mean, the production is just out of control.
Right.
Here.
Totally.
So the production level is insane.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I mean, I was seeing it for the first time last night, and it's like, like we have similar scale stuff at the conventions in the Northeast, but like just the amount of like lighting and sound production for that one stage is like for the largest ones I've been involved in the Northeast. What's here at Sakura Con is probably like 5 times the amount of budget.
Yeah. It's I mean, it's incredible. And what's neat about that is like it creates that full like encompassing, audio visual experience, right? Like the music's there, the lights are there. I mean, the DJ's on stage, but it's like you'll notice here, it's not like there's all these spotlights on the DJ.
Right.
We're just kind of up there doing our thing, but it's this whole performance. It's your as a DJ part of this performance with the lighting people. And like at great events, it can be like that, but not every rave that I play is like that. So when you get to do it and it's on this scale, it's with people that talented. Like, the sound crew that works here is top notch. The audio visual crew is top notch.
Totally.
So you're working with like really talented people that are here. Again, they're excited about it. So it's like a best case scenario. And again, it's like it's a crowd that is there to have fun. And so like I've never had quite that kind of crowd interactivity anywhere else. Like where you can just like really get them worked up into a frenzy and like
totally
let them loose and like they're up for it. Like they're 100%. And there's like not a jaded person in the whole front row. Like that's rare. You know? So like I love that. It's like this is the gig every year that like rejuvenates me for the next year. Like you're like, oh yeah, this is why I do it.
Yeah.
Awesome people, great music, lots of fun.
Yeah.
And anime.
Yeah. And anime. To loop it back around to like the age thing, you know, this like events like these convention dances are probably like the closest experience we have here in North America to the European family type festivals, you know, where like all ages, doesn't matter. Everyone gets exposed to the same music, and you know, convention dances are just kind of where that's possible here in North America. Because of like, you know, the age laws and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think the convention kind of gives, I think, kind of like a safety net. It really allows people to feel safe about the event. And it's on a different level. I mean, it's so like designed to be for all ages.
Right.
It's not like, we say all ages, we don't really want adults here, or vice versa. It really feels like everything's designed to be entertaining to everybody. Yeah. The dances included.
Most anime conventions are that way. They're family friendly conventions.
Yeah. I really love even like in the diversity of music, like you'll see like, I think like Doughboy dropped like a Ghostbusters last night.
That was awesome.
And I saw like some young kids be like, cool. And I saw like older people be like, look into their buddies like, Ghostbusters? Really? Yeah. And it's like, I don't know. Like that's pretty cool to see and to get to experience. So.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. So for the next question here, if you could score a gig for any venue, event, city, or country you have not already spun at before, what would that dream gig be?
Dream gig?
Yeah.
Honestly, like about like now, like like Japan is probably like the one. I've been really lucky and really honored to get to play like a lot of gigs and play a lot of cool cities. I gotten to play overseas a bit. I'd love to play like, you know, a big like UK hardcore massive, you know, like, you know, one of those. That'd be great. But there's something about like Japan, and part of it I think is like the same thing that draws me to the con, you know, but it's like that's part of my culture. But there's also like there's great hardcore coming out of Japan.
Definitely. I mean, I've been following it for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, it's just it's so cool, and it's like as things always are in Japan, it's just like a little Japanese. It's just like a little, the sensibilities are just a little different from what you'd maybe hear from like, you know, Finnish freeform, or, you know, the Japanese freeform has like a distinctive feel to it. Yeah. All like the J-core stuff. And so it's like, I don't know, that's really, it seems like an exciting scene. Yeah. And it's like, if there's one thing I know, like if people are fans of something in Japan, like they're fans and they're passionate about it, those are the people I love to
otaku to the core.
The people who are like into it. And it's funny too. It's like, you know, I've seen people at like at HTID in the Sun, like people who are much older than me, older, and like Pretty Green Eyes drops, and they're like screaming and singing and freaking out. So it's like, I don't know. I kind of see it in a way kind of similarly. Yeah.
And also the interesting thing about the Japanese producers is that they have a lot of relationships with the Spanish producers. Yeah. Which, you know, they get that Spanish influence as well, on top of trying to like model like the UK hardcore sound.
Yeah, that straight, like that machina, like again, that cross pollination of like, so this small subset of a small subset sound of people working in Spain, the Spanish sound, and then they like these folks in Japan, and they're like rocking this sound and like laying foundations.
Yeah,
like, I don't know, I find that really inspiring.
It's a very interesting amalgamation of stuff coming out of Japan for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I think a gig in Japan I think would be fantastic. But that's pretty selfish too. I just want to go to Japan.
Right. So have you ever been to Japan?
No.
No.
Not yet.
So in case you guys did not know, Ian K is Japanese.
Yeah.
So
Japanese.
Yeah. So that may explain a little bit of that desire as well.
Yeah. Right, like this is an audio podcast and people are hearing my voice, you'd probably not even know.
Yeah, no idea. Okay, so to kind of bring us into the cool down questions, what's your favorite food?
Oh, favorite food. I mean, I can't lie, like a really nice, like a dry age steak.
Yeah.
Like a 45-day dry age. It's like rare. And just like that on a plate. Like I don't need anything else on the plate.
Yeah.
But maybe there'll be some sides at the table. Yeah, just like that. Like the simplicity of that and like how it can kind of stand on its own, that to me is like perfection.
Totally.
There was I was a vegetarian for years, so that's coming. I mean, that's a big 180 from if you were to tell like 18-year-old Ian K that someday his favorite food would be like a really high-end steak. You'd get a lot of snark.
Yeah. We may have to grab some steaks for dinner.
Oh man, there's some good options around here.
Exactly, and like just around this block, there's like a Ruth Chris and a Morton's.
Yeah, there's a place called the Capitol.
Yeah.
Capitol Grill right down the street. And I'm a fan of it.
Yeah.
And it's like you can't walk in there with two people and walk out spending less than like $350. It's ridiculous.
Right, yeah.
But it's like, oh man, great food. But yeah, I mean for a great steakhouse experience, it's definitely like up there. I'd say we'd be better off just like buying some great steaks from the butcher and roping Doughboy into it. It's a much more economical solution.
Well, yeah, totally. Okay, so next up, what is your favorite drink?
My favorite drink, I mean, it's like probably an Oban, like neat side of soda water. I'm really a big fan of scotch for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know how that really happened. But yeah, like I really love like a 12-year-old scotch, like a Macallan.
Yeah.
But like Oban is like.
Is that also a scotch?
Yeah, it's like that's one of those ones where it's like definitely one of my favorites. Dummy once gifted me. It was really nice for a housewarming gift, like a 20-year-old. Oban. I mean, it's so smooth.
Yeah.
It's peaty. Some people don't like scotches that have like that really.
Yeah.
That it tastes like a bog.
Yeah.
I don't know why. And I have a sweet tooth. Like I'll eat candy for days.
Right.
So you wouldn't think that I'd be into like this really dark, peaty, whatever flavor, but I just love it. It feels like it's just like drug out of a bog.
Yeah.
And that's like the kind of scotch that I like. And then like I can't put ice in it.
Yeah.
I feel like it dilutes it too much. So it's like, and I order it and like people always give me like a, kind of look. Like this waitress down here at, I won't say the place, but I ordered it and I was like, oh yeah, I'll have the, neat. And she just kind of gave me this like, huh. And I was like, and a side of soda water. She was like, huh. And I was like, and I don't know what, that's just like the way I kind of like learned to drink it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it always kind of catches people off guard. I think I definitely give off like not a a just neat scotch vibe when I walk into a bar.
Dressed how you are for the con today,
like this especially. I feel like this is kind of like a Jack and Coke kind of a vibe.
Yeah, totally.
PBR.
Yeah,
PBR
pretty, or Jack and Coke.
How about a PBR and a Jack and Coke?
Right.
We should do that after this. We're just making plans at this point.
In terms of your scotch preferences, you're not the only one. So my best friend is actually a big scotch guy.
Yeah.
And he prefers like super peaty stuff.
Yeah.
Super peaty stuff.
I'm in a Facebook group, and it's called like Whiskey Club, but we talk about scotches too. And I meet people in all these different cities that I've been to, and there's like a couple of folks like up in Alaska. Anytime I go up there, it's like, hey, this is what we've got new, and we're gonna try this. And so it's again, the neat thing about like this as a gig is like you get to meet cool people, and if you meet people with similar interests, all of a sudden you get to like, oh, you're into scotches, this, or have you tried that? And all of a sudden your knowledge base just expands. Yeah. All of a sudden you have new hobbies to waste money on.
Dude, that's like why I like hanging out with you and Dummy, you know?
Right, I have you to thank for craps.
Like, yeah, exactly.
the weekend I came, no joke, the weekend I came back, so we went out to Mohegan, it was Mohegan Sun.
Right, yeah.
We go out there, and some of the other folks that we were with, not as enthusiastic about gambling as we were, and like, you taught me craps.
Yes.
And I was like, oh.
Like we're sitting around my dining room table, I'm teaching everyone how to play craps. And like this guy's the only one like really getting it.
I'm like taking mental notes and like thinking about things. And then like, so we go and play and we have fun. And then like I get home, and in Seattle there's like a casino like probably 35 minutes north of me. And it's just on a Saturday morning, I just woke up and I was just like, girlfriend's at work, just got paid.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go play craps. I was just like, what possessed me to do this? Like, and it didn't last. Like, it was like a couple of weeks in a row I did it, and I was just like, I can't do this all the time.
You can't do it all the time.
I'll play every so often, but yeah, because I had a roommate that liked to gamble too. Yeah, and he would like, it was great because we're both kind of late night people. He would like bust in every so often at like midnight. On like a Tuesday. Hey, what are you up to? I was just kicking it, and just you want to go to the casino? There's this casino right at like one freeway exit from my house. You can play blackjack at. Play blackjack and with 3-card poker and Pai-Gow. And mainly, I just play blackjack. Yeah. He'd just be like randomly be playing blackjack at 1 a.m. on a Tuesday. And what is my life? I made better choices in this.
Yes.
But at the same time, you know, it's like time to kick it with friends.
Yeah, totally.
I've spent $100 at a bar. I've spent $100 at a poker table.
Right, it's the same deal. It's the same deal. You know, you're there socializing, having a good time.
I realize I could probably come across as really flippant about $100. I've also spent like $10 at a bar with a friend. So it's not like like $100 every time. Yeah. It's not Oban every time. That PBR finds a way.
You know, I was gonna suggest like Thursday night that maybe we go to the casino, but like the timing just didn't work out.
Yeah.
You were like, I got to work on my set and stuff. So I was like, all right, sure.
You know what's funny? We could hop down. There's a bus from the ID, the International District. There's a bus like leaves 6 blocks from here. And there's like 2 of them, and they'll take you to one of like 2 or 3 casinos and bring you back. Yeah. If we really wanted to, they make it easy.
We could.
Nah, that's a bad idea. I've thrown so much money at the con anyway. Like in the dealer's hall. Within the first like 30 minutes of walking in, I was like,
that's a dangerous place too.
Yeah, just dropping money, like
just throwing money at people.
Like my favorite artist is here, Enfu. He's like great Seattle artist. Every year I buy a little something, and this year they caught me. They caught me at a moment where I was like, I really need a hoodie. And right as I'm thinking that, they're like, hey, we have these custom hoodies. And I was like, custom hoodies, tell me more about that. And it was like you could choose the fabric, and I'm just like, I just handed them my card. It's just like, let me try that on. It fits. Okay, boom, here. How much is it? Fine. Yeah. Welcome to Sakura Con. Right. Welcome to Sakura Con. Right. Hand over your money.
Yes. I mean, that's how most convention dealer rooms go, you know?
Right. But again, like, it's rare that I'm going to have an opportunity to meet the artist, high five them, throw them some money. Yeah. You know, so things like that, I'm down with it. You know, it's going to be rare to find, some of the weird toys and the like model kits and stuff you can find here. So yeah, it's definitely worth it, especially if you're like instant gratification like me. Right. So I'll do it. I'll look on eBay and be like, oh yeah, I could buy this, but I'll have it in my hand now. Like that's worth $10 sometimes.
Okay, so to roll us back around to Oban, I just got to ask, is that a Japanese distillery?
No, it's Scottish.
Scottish, okay.
Yeah. Yep. Although I'll tell you, there's a lot of good Japanese like whiskeys and Japanese spirits that are really really good, like top tier stuff.
They're buying all the barrels.
With buying all the barrels, that's what happened with my favorite port. My favorite port is Porto Rocha Cojita 1977. It's the year I was born.
Yeah.
Now everybody knows the year I was born. But it's like my favorite vintage. It's so amazing. And later I find the reason why is like that year there was like some weird weather thing and all the grapes were extra ripe and that vintage was the best year ever. And because of that, some like guy bought like all the barrels.
Yeah.
So like you can kind of sometimes find a bottle here and there.
Yeah.
But like really all of like the backlog, all of it is like owned by one guy and he just has it. But then every so often I'll be in like a QFC and see like a bottle of it and just be like, you have no idea how bad I want this. And I'll just like buy it. So now I've got like a couple bottles, but like, yeah. No end to that story.
All right, we got to take a quick pause here. It'll be seamless for you guys, but I got to reset one of the cameras.
Footage, yeah.
So we're back. Although it should have just been like a jump cut for you guys.
You should throw like a fake commercial in there. Like we should make like
I've been thinking about it actually. But it would take forever to post up the interviews if I did that. So
we could call who's it, like Brisk and them? They used to do that for the next gen one. Maybe see if they have some old commercials.
But then we need to do video for them.
Right.
So not as quickly producible.
Foiled again by logic.
Yeah. That was kind of like the brilliant thing for their audio podcast though, because they could just whip those up,
so quickly. So I mean, and that highlighted them.
Yeah.
Like the podcast was, the music was there, but it was really about them and their personalities really came through.
Yeah. No, it's definitely like one of the best podcasts. So yeah, I mean, it's absolutely hilarious that this interview about like production and DJing has turned to like scotch and craps.
I tell you,
not that I'm complaining, but it's just hilarious.
There's diversity to us.
Yes.
There's more to us than just beats.
Yeah. So I asked that last question because I thought it would be a little ironic if it was a Japanese distillery.
Yeah. No, that would be funny.
Okay. So to move on to the next question in the list, after all those
little like
tangents.
Yep.
When can we expect your next track to be released?
Oh man, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm at a phase with music now where it's definitely not like the 100% focus that it used to be. What that primarily means is like I'm not like on the road. I'm not gigging like all the time.
Yeah.
But also like I don't have a lot of pressure on myself to be outputting a whole lot of music. And in a way that's good because I don't feel pressured. In a way that's bad because sometimes pressure can like inspire a little bit. I've been working a lot on some ideas with there's this guy Jason Baus, and he's like the new hotness for a lot of people, and I've known him for a bit and got introduced to him, and since we've met, like I think he's just amazing, does great stuff. So he and we've done a track together, and we've got a few more ideas, and it's just like kind of that thing where it's like, this is a good idea, but it's maybe not great. He actually just sent me over some vocals though, and coming up with some riffs. So don't know if that goes well. That's the thing with he and I, like, if an idea clicks, it's like we can have it done. Like that first track, it was like a couple of days. But also, you know, life gets in the way and things.
Totally.
So hopefully, I'm hoping like maybe by this summer we'll have something new on that side. Actually, on the slightly different experimental side, Dummy and I have been writing some freeform.
I heard.
And it's really fun for me. We really got started together writing weird music. So for me, it's like just kind of a change up from where I felt I was kind of getting stuck. With UK hardcore, I got to a point where I didn't feel like I was like coming up with like as many things that were just like, yeah, I love that. So jumping over and doing some freeform stuff with Dummy, where it's like really out of my element, it really kind of it lets you just let go of worrying about that a bit. Because of that, I feel like, you know, maybe the creative floodgates will open a bit more. So I know that there's a good chance that those will get a release probably in the next, few months.
Yeah. I've heard the feedback from the labels has been pretty good.
Yeah, feedback from labels on them has been really fantastic. Yeah. I think it's a hard thing for me because I personally get to a point where I'm like, okay, I just want it. It's not like I just want it to be done.
Right.
But it's like I'm already thinking about the next thing, and it's hard for me to stay focused on the current.
Yeah.
And so that's where having somebody that you're working with, like Dummy, helps keep it grounded and be like, before we're getting into this, let's finish this.
Yeah.
I always have like 30 things I'm trying to keep up in the air.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, hopefully by this summer, you'll have a couple of new things. Maybe release some old. I've been releasing some old stuff on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
Just old releases I had, and most of it's like for free.
Yeah.
But you can find it on Bandcamp.
Cool. Yep. Awesome. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I imagine the freeform stuff is gonna pick up after Dummy's successfully installed Fruity in his place, and I got to tell you, like, I was hanging out there earlier this week, and just giving him some help here and there, like trying to get it installed on his system. But I think he has it all figured out. He just needs a larger hard drive.
Yeah. Well, and that's what's I think that's what's kind of cool too, is like a lot of us are working in the same ecosystem. Like I got turned on to FL Studio by Skeets, and I really love it. I still use Cubase for a lot of things, but for my sequencing, FL is really designed around dance music. It's the workflow really fits for dance music. And so with a lot of the folks that I collaborate with working on that same system, like FL really allows for easy swapping of files and collaboration. But also like Dummy can not worry about sound design.
Yeah, totally.
Come up with a riff and bring it in the studio really easy. I mean, before you could do that in like Logic, make it a MIDI file and do that. But for this, it's like, okay, he's working in one environment, maybe working on a riff, brings it over, and then gets to see what those next steps would be, so that then he goes back to his setup and he knows, okay, next time instead of just a riff, it'll be a riff and a kick, and here's a bass. Okay, now let's do sound design on this. So it's just like, again, aids in that creative process. I think it's a little more difficult when you're strictly talking about the theory and the concepts.
Right.
And at a certain point, it's just easier if you're like, you grab this knob, you right click, and you say this, and that's how you get the thing to work. As opposed to like having to talk to someone who's like, well, sidechain compression is this, and here's how it works, and the theory of blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it's like right click, make it happen.
Yeah. I may have to check out FL. To
be fair, I mean, I think the criticism of that, and the fair criticism is like, you don't have to be as knowledgeable to do it. You don't have to. There's built-in tools that aid with things like, am I in the right key or not?
Right.
But I don't necessarily see anything wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with having those tools available.
Yeah.
I don't know. At the end of the day, I started in a band playing on crap instruments on a guitar. So like bang it out if FL works, man, do it.
I mean, just for me personally, like when I was like looking at and researching all the different DAWs. Like Cubase was just the one that just like clicked for like my thought processes.
Me too.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it started with Reason. Reason was the first DAW that I ever kind of got my hands dirty.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, like I got my hands dirty with like, what was it? It was like Cubasis on like in like my high school sequencing lab, like way back. But then like, then it was Reason, and then Reason was a really easy jump into Cubase. The workflow it was really similar, except you just have more freedom. And Cubase was my jam for years. And again, for certain things now, it even still is.
Yeah. Like what things?
I guess I'd say when I'm going in and doing like pretty precise audio cleanup, or I'm like wanting to, a lot of times when I'm working with like vocal stuff, I will really go in and do like micro corrections to get things as like on time. Because I think a vocalist, when they're singing and maybe there's a piano track or like a click track, you're getting like this swing and the emotion into it. And sometimes that works great. And sometimes when you've got like a 4/4 kick, like a few milliseconds of like trimming this or adjusting that or can really clean things up. And for me in Cubase, it's just like go in, bam, 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 and I can do it really quick. I have like kind of templates for processing that I've built over the years that are really, it's like, if I'm doing this for this it sounds fine if I put it through this processing sequence. So a lot of the really fine-tune editing, getting timing down, well, I'll either use Cubase or Ableton, but Cubase, it really is where I'm the most comfortable. I'm still learning FL. I tell you, the FL, every time I use it, I feel it's like, oh, you can do that? Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Seamless R. If anyone who doesn't know, Seamless R has a YouTube channel. Oh. And he has a Patreon. And like watching his videos is a great way to learn, to just get your feet wet. Yeah. He does a great job explaining kind of the concept and theory and why everything works. And he's got a real like no bullshit attitude about it. He's like, in a room, bunch of crap gear, but good gear and a bunch of crap behind him, and really knowledgeable. The best guy to learn from.
Cool, good stuff.
Yep.
It's hard to believe that this is like the cool down section.
Yeah,
of our
I know,
interview.
right? We've been on this is like coming in for a landing, and like there's no room at the terminal. We're just like, I'm just gonna keep you in this holding pattern. Okay,
so next up, what upcoming gigs do you have?
Big one is coming up next weekend. I'm going to be out in Boston area for Fooled Ya.
Yeah, Fooled Ya.
Yeah,
Force Productions. So yeah, that'll be really fun. It's interesting. It's like my first time coming out to your city, and you're not the one bringing me. I know.
So I feel a little like it's kind of cheating on you a little bit.
You know what's funny? I'm not even going to be around. That weekend.
I'm glad that we met up this weekend, so I'm not just
totally.
Oh man, where is he? He's bummed out. I can't take this. Oh, he's not even answering his phone. I went to his house. He's not even answering his door.
I will actually be at another convention next weekend in Chicago.
Well, good. I mean, good that you're out on the road, man.
Well, it's not a gig. It's my other kind of deal, which is gaming. So So I'm going out there to game and play in tournaments. And
awesome.
Stuff, so
awesome.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that in this community.
Otherwise, I'd take you around like usual, and we could hang out and shoot the shit.
Drink ciders.
Yeah.
Oh man, every time I come out there though, it's a great time. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's always great to come back to a city after a while.
Right.
It's been a little while since I've been there, so
totally.
Really excited about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that is April 2nd.
Yep, April 2nd.
What else?
What else?
Actually, did we name where that was? That was so Fooled Ya is in Worcester, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And it's going to be at Club Oasis, aka London Billiards.
Yeah.
Same place. It's a pool hall.
I'm down with it.
Yeah.
Let me see if I think I've got my info here on another gig. This is what happens when like you're not gigging all that actively.
Right.
It's like I was just like, when am I playing?
Yeah.
Not that much. I think May 7th in Seattle. I'm playing a show here in Seattle with No Left Turn at Studio 7. And then I think 2 weeks after that is the Go Mental, the Hardcore Underground tour show Seattle Hardcore is throwing. Fracas and Darwin and MC Obi.
Yeah.
Me and Dummy are doing a back-to-back DJ set. That hasn't happened in probably 4 years.
With Obi on the mic,
I hear? Obi on the mic. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
That's gonna be a great time.
Obi's
no matter what, yeah.
Yeah, Obi's like one of my favorites. So, yep. But yeah, not a ton of gigs. Yeah. It's not the calendar it used to be, and I'm pretty happy with that.
I mean, like, I can't remember how long ago it was, but you announced like you weren't really chasing gigs.
What's funny is, it was like a year and like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And the reason I know that is like. So I had kind of said I'm done kind of really taking gigs. Maybe I'll play here and there. The thing's a con and stuff like that. But that I wasn't actively seeking out gigs. And I took a long time off, just was not gigging.
Yeah.
And then it was actually like exactly a year ago.
Yeah.
There was a Darren Styles show here in Seattle.
Yeah.
And I got asked if I wanted to open. It's like, it's your hometown and you're going to open for Darren Styles. I'm not going to be like, I'm cool. Like, and Dummy and I got to open for Force and Styles way back in like 2000.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, of course I'll do it. So then it was like, okay, I'm back doing this gig. I'm not really like back, but so now I'm at a place where the gigs are a little more sparse. It's not like where I feel like I have to gig every single weekend.
Yeah.
So it allows me to have a little bit more like kind of personal life balance.
Yeah.
But still take the gigs that I want to play and travel when it works and when it feels right, but not to feel like I got to make my life work around this, because at a certain point it became really unhealthy. So
I've heard stories about you and No Left Turn and various misadventures and
well, I mean, it's like the best way I can put it is like, I mean, you heard us talk about it. It was like 1999 when we got started.
Yeah.
I mean, just for me to do the mental math about like how long ago in my life that was. So you think about, you get started doing something and you're in your like early 20s.
Yeah.
And then like all of a sudden you're in your like late 30s and you're still doing it. And it's like, I can't, like, I gotta take a breather. And it's not like that there's anything, I mean, it's no different from like I was in a band and we'd be on tour.
Yeah.
And you're like shooting fireworks out of a van or like spray painting your logo on like a sign in the middle of nowhere because, you're a rebel, but no one's going to catch you on like whatever in the middle of BFE.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, we get into a lot of like, it's like being on a holiday with your best friends every weekend.
Yeah.
And it's great, but I think too at a certain point, like I know for myself, like I just wanted to like only go on like the big roller coasters every so often.
Yeah.
And like not feel like I have to do that all the time.
Yeah. And what I find amusing is that, you left the event last night around like, what was it, like 1:30
like
or so,
1:30,
somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And like No Left Turn like came back to the hotel like around midnight or whatever.
Yeah.
Like something like that. It's like, I'm going to bed. And like so big secret here for you guys, like this is my hotel room and No Left Turn's my roommate for the weekend. So like I come back to the room like a couple times actually, because I came back to like get the tripod and like get like chargers and stuff like that throughout the event, because I didn't think I would need all that shit last night, but I did.
Yeah.
And like he was literally like in bed, like sleeping.
Asleep. Yeah.
Before 1 a.m. and I woke up early. I got back later, much later than he did, and then I woke up early, and he was still in bed until like, it was like 10:30 or so, like before you guys.
But then we had dim sum o'clock, and like, boy, it was like it was a precision machine. It was like, you should have seen. We're in like this group chat, and it's like dummies picking up Doughboy, and they're ETA 5 minutes, and we're in the Uber, and we're gonna meet you down there. So we all arrived at the dim sum place at the same time, and within 5 minutes of sitting down, we had like a table of food. Yeah, like we were killing
Good stuff.
But that is kind of the reality. Like I turned in a little earlier than usual last night, but part of it is like going to be doing the con all day today, and then like I play at 1 a.m. tonight. Donnie plays like an hour before you play right before me.
Right, yeah.
So I mean, it's like all three of us are like, tonight's the night we've really got to ramp it up. So I'm okay phoning it in then on my night off.
I didn't get back to this room to go to bed until like 3:30.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like, I tell you, like when we were at HTID in the Sun, it was like we were our first night. We get in and it's like we're there. It's the first night. You're gonna like have fun and you're gonna like be at the show all night. Then you get up and you're excited about the show. And then it's the sun is up and then there's like drinks on the beach. Yeah. And then like the next thing you know, you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm tired. Like I can't do this anymore. So yeah, nowadays I definitely like, I can't do the 14 hours on my feet sleeping against a wall. Because I mean, we've all been there, right? It's like, well, I'm at the show. I'm tired. I guess I'm just going to sleep in this green room.
There comes a point in your life where you're like, I'm too old to do this shit or be up this late right now.
Literally have a Danny Glover moment. You're literally too old for this shit.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Like,
yeah, it's fine.
And I feel like my like weird perspective on it is like, I still feel like doing this allows, if doing what I do, all of this, taking it easy or not taking gigs or turning in early, if that means that the times that I am asked to be on stage and we're going to do it, that I can be like 100% killing it, like doing the best performance I possibly can, then like I'll take whatever shit for like going to sleep early the night before. Like I'll eat the insults and the people like giving you a hard time over that. If I can feel like it's all worth it, if for that hour it's like what it needs to be. Yeah.
I gotta say, man, I'm really looking forward to like our 4-hour Asian attack block tonight.
It's gonna be crazy.
Like who's on after you? Is it Kaboom?
Yeah, it's Kid Kaboom after me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the thing about Con is you saw it like probably last night, like there's vibe and energy all through the night.
Yeah.
Like people are ramped up for it. So
also kind of what I'm excited about for tonight is for other people from our scene to see me do like my con set, which like, I may drop like a track or two, like playing at a party, of what I would spin at a con. But tonight is like all different.
Yeah.
For the
this
most
is
part,
like a really different, like, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, like normally I don't do like pre-planned sets, and like this one isn't really pre-planned either. I picked out like 60 tracks. So like that is like my extent of pre-planning, but all of those tracks are like video game remixes and anime theme remixes. So I'm still all about the improvisation. When you get down to it, but it's going to be fun.
I'm excited for it. Yeah, I think Con, it's like it gives everybody a platform to maybe push boundaries a little bit or do something a little different. The audience is a little bit more accepting, I think, and a little more open. So it's like I love to see people like use this to push their boundaries. Spunky Da Bunny last night.
Yeah.
Normally a lot of drum and bass, plays UK hardcore. Future bass set.
You were loving that.
Oh my God, I love it. I mean, I'm the producer in me. Producer in me loves that sound. Like a lot of that future bass production is just like it's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
And then to get to hear it on that sound system.
Oh my gosh.
I've been talking to her for like weeks about like her thoughts about this set and what she was trying to do with it and how much it was kind of, I think, pushing outside of her comfort zone to do it, and to hear it like that and just be like, oh God, like I like it's just like if anyone else in that audience felt what I felt about that set, it's just like she accomplished everything she could have hoped to do.
Right.
Yeah, she really killed it with that. But that's, again, like, I don't know when she would maybe have the opportunity to do that outside of this.
Right. Yeah.
So
totally.
yeah,
lots of experimentation.
Love that.
I mean, for me, it's just like totally being able to like cater to the crowd here.
We No Left Turn and I took advantage of being able to experiment. I think it was like the first time we ever did Shoot for the Stars,
right,
as like a duo, and that was like how I got on this whole like Tractor and MIDI fighter tip. He had been really pushing me like, oh, you got to check this out. And then we did this duo performance called Shoot for the Stars, and I think the first time ever we did it here at the con, and it was like, from that point forward, everything was different for me about how I mixed and how I did music. And so like what you'll hear tonight is like, I was like what like the HTID set was. It's just like the next evolution of those same ideas, just like a little tighter and a little bit more pushed. And I'm really excited to kick it out and see what where it goes. And again, like to experiment, like there's a lot of things that I was just like, well, I'll figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Totally. I mean, you got to not be afraid to like figure it out. I mean, you know, I touched on it a little bit, like pre-planned sets and stuff like that. I just couldn't do that. Like I like improvising for me is kind of like my opening to like try new things.
Yeah. I think I come at it from, to me, it's like the right tool at the right time. There's a time when improvisation is like really what I want.
Yeah.
And what I want to have is the flexibility. There's other times where it's like, you know, maybe I've put together like these routines that are really like complicated that I want to showcase.
Oh yeah.
So it's
like I still have like special routines. Like I like to call them my combos.
Right.
You know?
Because I tend to think of it like have you ever seen like Z-Trip perform?
No, I haven't.
Z-Trip is like he kind of captured to me in a DJ what I always wanted to do, which is like he has these crazy great battle routines, like really would kill in a battle, and then like but between that he's like party rocking. He's dropping like, you know, big anthem-y, like old school hip hop jams, and then like Metallica. Like he's not afraid to push it, but like every couple minutes he's doing these like crazy turntablism routines and scratching, and you're like, that's like, to me, it was the balance. It wasn't so out there that it was like the D-Styles sextuplet, which is like jazz on turntables, which I love, but like people can't wrap their heads around that.
Right.
Sometimes. And all the way to the other end, which is like maybe like super party rocking, DJing, and then the pre-planning part of it is over here, and it's like, oh, he just like pulls all of these different pieces together in this perfect package of like, that part's pre-planned, that part is like party rock, and that part is totally like he saw somebody in the crowd with a Four Non Blonde shirt. Who wears a Four Non Blonde shirt, but he's going to drop what's going on. That, you know, it's like, that's the like, that kind of creativity and flexibility.
Exactly. Yeah, totally. I mean, that's what I love about improv sets, is that, you know, you do see that shirt out there, and like, you know, this person's really going to like this track if I drop it.
Yeah. I mean, how many times have you been like, you know, maybe in a bar or like just out in the crowd, and you hear somebody say something like, oh man, if I hear blah, blah, blah track, I'm going to lose my shit. Dude, I hear that is my mission. Like, do I have this track?
Yes.
How can I get this? I've loaded like Beatport on my phone, bought a track that I probably wouldn't have bought, because I heard some kid being like freaking out about it. It's like, dude, I can drop a minute and a half of this track and like freak that kid out.
Totally. And,
why not?
You know, back when convention dances were a bit smaller, and people could actually walk up against the stage and like talk with you, like I would take requests from them. And it's like, yeah, sure, I'll drop, you know, something like that.
You ever see what's that it's like a Jeremy Piven show where he's a used car salesman, and they have Craig Robinson is their DJ whenever they have sales. But his name's DJ Request, and he doesn't take requests. Oh, it's amazing. He has these like DJ freakouts, or like people are like, hey, can you play something a little more up tempo? And he plays like this really like droney, like bad music. And he's like, nobody tells DJ Request what to play. It was like, oh man, I just want that on a shirt. Yeah. Nobody tells DJ Request what to play.
So you brought it up, and because you brought it up, I have to ask. When are we going to see more Shoot for the Stars?
When are you going to see more Shoot for the Stars? I don't know. It's interesting. Like we did it for a little while. Yeah. And then, I mean, part of it is like we live up the coast from each other. Right, yeah. So like the first time we did it, it's like, I remember like flying down to San Francisco just on my own for 2 days. Yeah. Where Donnie and I just like hung out in his apartment for 2 days and just like worked on the set. And it's like a little harder now, I think, to like make something like that happen. And then he's really pushed himself on the NLT Plus type of show. And then my normal performance has kind of gone that same route. So it's like, I think it'll be like when the time is right, we'll both kind of be like, okay, now it's time to like Voltron up, combine forces. Yeah. But I think we're both in this phase right now where we're like, we're still like discovering what we can do on this new medium. Like he's gone the Launchpad route. Yeah. I've gone the MIDI fighter route. We're both using Traktor, but it's like, I still feel like it was like that first couple years when I was mixing on turntables where it's like, and so before we were learning, it's like, that's how we were learning. Right. But now I kind of feel like anything that we were doing with Shoot for the Stars back then, either one of us could probably do on our own now. Yeah. So we better make Shoot for the Stars something even bigger than that. Right. And I don't know if I can, I don't know if we could top that quite yet. Yeah. When we can, we'll do it.
Well, I mean, it sounds like, since you guys are like starting to, I guess, train in these different paths, when you come back together, right? Things are going to be that much more awesome.
Right. Well, and I mean, and it's like, again, this is where having like great creative people around you can really make a big difference. Is like Donnie's, the direction that he's gone with a lot of this is like really like dense. Like his mixing is like, it's just powerful all the way through. Like he doesn't let up. It doesn't give you a break. No breakdowns. It's just like relentless. And like that's hard for me to wrap my head around necessarily. Yeah. Whereas my stuff is really like mashup influenced and a lot more like into layering and like kind of being tricky. Yeah. Like kind of like you didn't see that coming. Right. And so I can imagine like when the time comes that we're going to combine those two, it'll be like really on like another level. That's funny. We were kind of saying like we're kind of waiting for the technology to wait up or to get us there. Yeah. Right now, both of us can't plug our laptops into one mixer and jam. Well, the new DJM 900 Nexus 2 has the dual. Yeah. It's a little too early to start making that demand on a contract, I think. Yeah. But I think that shows that I think there's a new future for like the technology and the performance working together. The technology allows creativity to be a little more at your fingertips. Yeah. No pun intended. But I think at the end of the day, it's just like we just want to push it. Yeah. Like,
oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, we just want to like see how far we can go with this, and then I'm pretty sure at a certain point it'll be like Donnie on like 4 decks doing all that stuff, and I'm doing all this weird crazy stuff, and somehow we make it work together. But right now, it feels like it's just like. I'll just say for me, I'm still just like, I still feel like I got training wheels on. Yeah. Like that's how green it feels to me. And I want to, I don't know, get up to a 10 speed first before we do that. Yeah.
All right. So we got to take one more pause here. All right. Next jump cut.
Jump. Yep.
Okay. Here we are.
And we're back.
So final question here.
All right.
Where can people find you online? Like your social media stuff.
So on Twitter, Ian K Hardcore, Instagram, Ian K Hardcore. I have iankhardcore.com. If you go to it, I'm really proud of the website. I built it. My good friend Squeak taught me like CS. So she taught me how to code it. Yeah. It's hilariously bad looking, and I'm so proud of it. But it's cool. It's like flat HTML. So like if I want to update things, I just go into the code and like update, add a new row and add a new column, kind of old school.
Yeah. So is it just like straight HTML, or
you'll have to see it. It's pretty hilarious. But yeah, enkHardcore.com. I'm trying my best to keep that updated. When I have like tracks and mixes and stuff, I'm trying to like keep my Motivational Monday posts up on there. I'm trying to get that on across more, so usually it's just on my Facebook, but I'm trying to get it so I'm posting it on my Instagram and my Twitter and all that at the same time.
You just got to get a cross poster.
Yeah, I was using Hootsuite for a while, but it's like I feel like when I use Hootsuite, nobody can see those posts.
Yeah.
So I just have to make the effort and copy paste it. It's a tough life.
Yeah.
Rocking that social media platform. You got to copy paste, have a couple of frames open. What the hell's the world coming to? If only there was a service that could do this for you. Oh, wait, I'm cheap. I don't want to pay anyone. So, those are probably the best places. If you find me, Facebook, Ian K Hardcore on there as well. It's an easy thing to remember. Yeah. Ian Kawabata is like my quote unquote personal DJ account, but that's where a lot of all my DJ and social media related stuff ends up.
Yeah.
Is on there. Yep.
Okay, cool. Well, this has been an awesome conversation with you here.
I'm all about awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for taking some of your time out of the con for this. And
absolutely.
I'm pretty sure our viewers enjoyed all these interesting things that we've talked about.
Look, I'll be honest, like this was just 2 hours that I didn't have to be on my feet on the con floor. So like I'm down. No, this is great. I love this format, and I think it's cool because like usually the best opportunity to have this conversation with somebody is like in a warehouse at 3 a.m. after your set and your ears are dead and you're like, hey, there's a guy. He was really inspiring to me. Like, it's hard to have that conversation or get to know somebody. So, like, I think this is a great format to, to allow people to see a different side of all of us.
Yeah, Thanks. I mean, that's what I'm going for, because, like, the hardcore especially, I think it's just so focused on producing new tracks and then, trying to produce a good event that, you don't slow down and like get to know people. Yeah,
that's fun. It's like Alex Prospect was just in Seattle, and he and I were chatting about production and stuff. And I shared with him, I was like, I don't know if this is just because I've kind of like I don't care about success really right now. I was like, but at a certain point, I kind of think of like a lot of the music that we create is like disposable, and not disposable like a bad way. A disposable camera is great because it takes cameras, and then you don't have to have it anymore. And in a way, like. I start to sometimes think about some music like that too, is like not everything that you write has to be like the most heartfelt, emotional. Sometimes you can just write a fun fucking track.
Yes.
That's just fun and cool, and like doesn't have to be like me ripping my heart out and putting it out on the internet, So I think like
Fleshlight.
Yeah. Like Fleshlight. So I think that like, I'm trying to look for more opportunities for that of like, how can we just make this fun?
Yeah.
There's a lot of seriousness going on. Hardcore, at the end of the day, I think is about having a good time and having fun.
Totally.
Let's not take it so seriously. Like we're the genre that's been like the like weird little
redheaded stepchild.
Yeah, just kind of like that, like the untalked about relative at the dinner table for a long time. And like at this point, we just kind of own it, and we're pretty self-sufficient, and like. The hardcore scene doesn't need the drum and bass scene to love us or the house community to love us for us to be successful. That's a cool place to be. I don't know a lot of like other genres that have like, quite that community. Now that I say that, I'm sure I'm going to hear about it from everybody. I'm making a lot of wild assumptions there, but I think I'll just speak for myself that within the hardcore community, it feels like, especially here in the States, this level of like community and friendship and camaraderie that like I can't even find an analog. Like I can't even find another time in my life where like for so long, for so many people have been dedicated to something, not necessarily just for their own benefit, but just like because they love something.
Right.
That's a cool thing to be a part of.
Totally.
Pretty lucky.
Yeah. Art for the sake of art.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's why I go to Burning Man. You know, it's like art's. If you think about art as temporary, you don't have to worry about it being your legacy forever.
Yeah.
Just have fun. Just do it. Make it, and then who cares? And blow it up.
Yeah.
And then make something more.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. That's how I feel about it.
All right. Final tangent.
That's it. I know you thought you were done. I just pulled you back in.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you once again for taking time out. And hope you enjoy the rest of your Sakura Con weekend. And
absolutely
really looking forward to our Asian attack block tonight.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun. Yeah. Thanks so much. It's been a pleasure.
All right.
All right.
Awesome.
Peace.
Yep. Mark 5 and Ian K signing out.